Are you ready to dive into the wild world of meme fruits? If you want to rule the seas, you've got to make sure you're munching on the best fruits that gems can buy. But here's the catch. Not all fruits are created equal, and you might find yourself wondering, is this fruit better than the one I already have? Don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, we're breaking down the ultimate meme fruits fruit tier list to help you figure out which fruits truly stand above the rest. Whether you're a seasoned meme fruits player or just starting your adventure, knowing which fruits give you the edge is key to dominating the game. Some fruits might look flashy, but when it comes to power and utility, others leave them in the dust. Stick around as we rank each fruit and give you all the info you need to make those tough fruit decisions with confidence. Let's get into it and find out which fruits are worth the bite. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking fruits in meme fruits. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
A very small portion of the audience is subscribed to the channel. Please don't forget to subscribe if you like these types of videos. Thanks.
The fruits in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, rock, moai, bomb, and smoke. Alright, buckle up because we're diving into the world of C-tier fruits in meme fruits. These fruits are, well, let's just say they're not exactly the star players of the game. They're like that one friend who promises to help you with your project but ends up eating all the snacks instead. But hey, let's take a closer look at what they've got to offer and what they don't. First up, we've got rock. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd expect a rock to like smash stuff, right? Unfortunately, rock's damage is about as low as it gets. Sure, you've got some decent mobility with moving rock, and the cooldowns are nice and short, but when it comes to damage, you're basically just throwing pebbles at your enemies. It's one of the worst fruits in the game, and while it's fun to roll around with, don't expect to cause much of a dent in battle. Next, let's talk about moai. It's got a bit of a quirky vibe, but don't let that fool you. The AoE potential here is, let's say, okay-ish, but that's about it. The damage output, definitely not impressive. Skills are easy to dodge in PvP, which means you're basically wasting your time trying to land a hit. On top of that, it's got zero mobility. So if you're up against anyone who can actually move, you're in for a rough time. Now, bomb sounds like it could be cool, right? You'd think with a name like bomb, it would explode in terms of damage. Well, here's the catch. It's got decent AoE on most skills and it's actually not terrible for grinding mobs. But when you're facing off against other players in PvP, bomb skills are easy to dodge. And even though you can blow things up, your total damage is still kinda weak, leaving you with little to show for all your efforts. Plus, it doesn't do you any favors when it comes to mobility, so you'll be left standing still while your opponent zips away. And then we have smoke. Now, smoke is that fruit that promises you the world but delivers a puff of, well, smoke. It has flight. Okay, cool, right? But honestly, that's about where the good stuff ends. The cooldowns are short, which is great, but your damage is so low that it's like using a squirt gun against a tank. The AoE is almost non-existent, and when it comes to actually dealing any real damage, smoke just can't hold its own. In the grand scheme of things, it's definitely one of the worst fruits in the game, so maybe leave this one on the shelf for now. So yeah, C-tier fruits have their moments, but they definitely need some serious love if they're ever going to compete with the heavy hitters in the game. Whether it's poor damage, lack of mobility, or skills that can be dodged with ease, these fruits are not the ones you'll want to build your strategy around. They're more like an accessory, nice to have around for some extra flair, but they're not going to win you any battles. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a certain charm to these fruits, especially if you enjoy messing around with different playstyles. But if you're aiming for efficiency, or if you just want to make a real impact in PvP, you might want to steer clear of these options, unless you're feeling particularly adventurous, of course. There's something kind of fun about picking an underdog fruit and seeing if you can somehow make it work, even if it's more for laughs than actual success. But hey, that's the beauty of meme fruits. Every fruit has its own vibe, and while these C-tier fruits might not be the best, they still add a little spice to your journey. Just don't expect them to carry you through the toughest battles. If you're looking for a fruit that packs a punch, you might want to look elsewhere. Alright, that's enough of the C-tier fruits for today. What do you think about these fruits? Are they underappreciated or just plain bad? Let me know in the comments, and if you've ever tried any of these fruits in battle, drop your stories too. I'm sure they'll make for some hilarious reads. The fruits in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, flame, dark, potato, and water. Alright, let's dive into some of the B tier fruits in meme fruits. You know, the ones that are solid but not quite the flashy game changers that S tier fruits bring to the table. So, if you're using these, you're doing alright, but you might not be topping the leaderboards just yet. Let's take a look at what makes these fruits good and where they could use a little bit of help. First up, we've got Flame. Honestly, this fruit's combo potential is chef's kiss. If you're the type who loves pulling off sick combos, Flame's got your back. Plus, most of its skills have some solid AoE, so you can hit multiple enemies at once. Oh, and did I mention it has flight? You can soar through the air and dodge incoming hits like a true pro, but here's the kicker. The damage output, it's on the lower side, so while you're able to land cool combos, it's gonna take you a bit longer to melt your enemies. The cooldowns aren't helping either, so don't get too trigger happy or you'll be waiting a while to pull off your next move. Then there's Dark. If you're into micro stuns and combo potential, Dark is a top pick. The damage for an epic fruit is pretty impressive too, especially when you get everything lined up just right. Flight is, of course, a bonus here, but here's the thing, some of its skills are channel based, which means you'll be stuck in one place for a bit. Not ideal when you're trying to avoid getting hit. And while it can dish out good damage, its AoE DPS isn't exactly gonna blow your mind. It's good, just not insane. Next on the list is Potato. Wait, a potato fruit? Yup, you heard that right. While it might sound weird, Potato isn't too bad, especially when it comes to AoE. You can hit a decent number of enemies with your moves, which makes it alright for grinding. However, PvP players might have a different opinion. Most of its skills are easy to dodge, which can be frustrating if you're trying to land hits on a speedy opponent. And unfortunately, there's no mobility here, so don't expect to zip around the map like you're on a high-speed chase. That's definitely a downside when you're up against some of the faster fruits. Let's talk about Water. For an uncommon fruit, Water delivers some pretty strong AoE and AoE damage. It's fantastic if you're just trying to clear out groups of enemies quickly. Flight is also a nice touch, letting you get some height and avoid a lot of incoming attacks. But, and this is a big but, Water just can't quite keep up with the big dogs in terms of total damage. When you stack it up against higher rarity fruits, you'll notice the difference in the damage department. It's good, but not great. Alright, so each of these B tier fruits definitely has its moments. Flame's got combo potential, Dark brings micro stuns and decent damage, Potato's not too bad for grinding, and Water has solid AoE. But they all share a couple of issues, long cooldowns, low damage, or a lack of mobility that might hold them back from really shining in high stakes battles. So if you're running any of these fruits, don't sweat it. You've got the tools to put up a good fight, but you might need to rely on strategy more than raw power. Maybe you've got to get creative with your combos, time your attacks just right, or even learn to dodge like a pro to make the most of these fruits. In the end, B tier fruits might not be at the top of the pile, but they're certainly worth picking up if you like a more strategic playstyle. Plus, who doesn't want to get a little creative with their combos, right? And that's it for B tier fruits. If you're using one of these, keep practicing and see what unique playstyle you can come up with. You never know, you might just surprise everyone. The styles in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Popcat, Dough, Flopper, Light and Ice. Alright, let's dive right in and talk about some of the fruits from Mimi fruits that are solid but just shy of the top tier. We're talking about those A tier fruits, you know, the ones that aren't quite OP, but they're still really fun to play and can hold their own in battle. Whether you're grinding or going head to head in PvP, these fruits bring a lot to the table. So let's take a closer look at them. First up, we've got Popcat. This one's pretty interesting. It's got solid crowd control, combo potential, and some decent range. The best part, it's got flight. So yeah, if you like being above the action, Popcat's your friend. Plus, its V skill gives it some decent survivability, making it harder to take down in a pinch. But here's the catch. The C skill has a pretty weak AoE, and in PvP, it's so easy to dodge. Also, the damage is a bit underwhelming, especially when compared to rarer fruits. So, while it's fun, it's not exactly the top pick for high-level plays. Then we've got Dough, and let me tell you, mobility is its strong suit. With the moving donut skill, you can zip around the map like no one's business. It also has amazing range and a lot of AoE and CC on almost every skill. Sounds like a winner, right? But here's the thing, for all that mobility and control, it just doesn't pack enough raw damage to be considered OP, especially when you're grinding through enemies. It's definitely a fun fruit, but you might be left wanting more when you're up against the heavy hitters. Next on the list is Flopper. If you're into AoE for grinding, this one's solid. It's got good AoE skills to clear mobs, and it has some decent combo potential. Oh, and it has light, which is always a bonus. But here's the downside. The X skill's AoE is pretty random. You have to rely on good aim with Flopper, and if you're not hitting your shots, you're not getting the most out of this fruit. So it can be a bit hit or miss, literally. Moving on, we've got Light. This one has a lot going for it. Solid AoE, good range, and decent damage across all skills. Plus, its mobility is pretty on point, so it's easy to zip in and out of battles. But the problem is, in PvP, most of Light's skills are pretty dodgeable. You'll need to be spot on with your aim if you want to land a hit. And that's not always easy, especially when opponents are good at dodging. It's a great fruit, but it's got some drawbacks in terms of PvP performance. And then there's Ice. Now, Ice is considered one of the best epic fruits right now, and for good reason. It's got fantastic CC, AoE, and damage on all of its skills, so it performs well both in PvE and PvP. You're going to have a solid time with Ice whether you're battling mobs or facing off against other players. The only problem? It's starting to get outscaled by higher rarity fruits when it comes to damage. It's still a beast, but if you're looking for something that can really deal massive damage, Ice might not be your top pick anymore. So, to wrap it all up, A-tier fruits are definitely fun to play and can shine in different situations. They might not be the best for all scenarios, but they're definitely solid options if you're looking for something that's not top tier, but still really capable. Popcat, Doe, Flopper, Light, and Ice all bring something unique to the table, whether it's mobility, AoE, or just solid damage. The key is finding the one that suits your playstyle best. And hey, that's the fun part of Mimi fruits. You can experiment, find new combos, and really mix things up to fit whatever situation you're in. So if you haven't already, give these fruits a spin and see how they work for you. Who knows, you might find a new favorite. The fruits in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Curse, Doge, and Newbie. Alright, let's dive into the Mimi fruits world and talk about the top tier fruits you absolutely need to know about. These aren't just your average fruits, these are the heavy hitters, the ones that shine in both PvP and grinding. First up, let's talk about Curse. Now this fruit is an absolute monster when it comes to AoE. I'm talking about grinding like a pro and even dishing out micro stuns in PvP. If you're all about that combo life, this fruit's got you covered. The range on Dismantle and Fire Arrow is solid too, making it one of the best fruits in the game for both damage and utility. But hey, no fruit is perfect, right? The only downside here is Curse's complete lack of mobility. You'll be stuck on the ground, so don't expect to zip around like some of the other fruits. Still, a top tier choice if you can handle the stationary life. Next up, we've got Doge, and let me tell you, this fruit is like a walking meme that brings the whole squad. With Doge, you get multiple Doge mobs to fight by your side, which is honestly just hilarious and powerful at the same time. Plus, it has flight, so you can soar through the air like a meme lord. What really sets this fruit apart is its crazy AoE across all of its skills, perfect for grinding and just clearing out enemies like there's no tomorrow. However, if you're trying to go head to head with other fruits in PvP, Doge can get outranged by the likes of Doe and a few other fruits. And while its AoE is great, there's not much crowd control in its kit, so you might struggle a bit with locking down enemies. Still, Doge is a solid pick if you want to vibe in the air and summon a whole army of little Doges. Then there's Newbie. This fruit is a bit of an oddball, but it definitely has its charm. Newbie summons a newbie mob to fight for you, and yes, it's as goofy as it sounds, but it packs a punch. It's got flight too, so you can be zooming around like you own the skies. What really shines with Newbie is its AoE skills. They're quick to cast and have great coverage. But let's be real for a second, this fruit doesn't have a ton of CC, and the one skill that does have it has a really low range. In PvP, it struggles a bit with combo potential, which can make it feel a little underwhelming when compared to the other fruits in the game. Still, if you like to keep things light and enjoy summoning a little buddy to help you out, Newbie can be a fun choice. So, who's the best of the best in Mimi fruits? Well, that's hard to say, but Curse seems to have the edge if you're into AoE and micro stuns. It's perfect for those who love grinding and want to dish out damage while keeping enemies at bay with some sneaky stuns. Just don't expect to be flying around the map like a lot of the other fruits. Doge is definitely the meme king of the bunch with its summoning abilities, AoE, and flight. It's perfect for chaotic grinding sessions, but its range issues and lack of CC hold it back a bit in PvP. Meanwhile, Newbie brings some fun to the table with its quick AoE and summoned mob, though it's definitely more of a niche pick for PvP thanks to its low range CC and weak combo potential. Now, here's the real question. Do you prefer chaos and summoning an army of Doges, or do you like the idea of dishing out AoE destruction and a few sneaky stuns with Curse? Maybe you're more into the idea of flying around with Newbie, summoning a little buddy to handle business for you. Whatever you pick, you can't go wrong with these S-tier fruits, but understanding their strengths and weaknesses is key to maximizing their potential. Remember, no fruit is perfect, but when you can work around their flaws, you'll be a force to be reckoned with in the meme fruits world. Keep grinding, keep fighting, and may your fruit always be the best. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.